Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to something slightly different, which we will see what the end result will be. So people know me as a fair but at times hard critic of certain things. I give most stuff a pretty fair shake, but I'm very critical of things, especially if they have a lot of hype around them. People also know that I really like Halo and, to that extent, Bungie. However, I'm not that big a fan of Destiny. But there are lots of reviews of Destiny out there. There's countless going over what happened, how did it come to be the entity that it is now. What I want to do is I want to showcase it juxtaposed to another game. This game, Warframe. So, for those who don't know, Warframe is a third-person shooter that has a big online component. In fact, you can only play it online. There's no other way of playing it. Started on PC back in 2013. Now has a port for PS4 and Xbox One. I'm playing it on PS4. This is essentially, put it in short form, this is what I want Destiny to be. And I'm going to try and explain why I think this game is better than Destiny. So I want to break this down into three sections: numbers, gameplay, and grind. So numbers game. Let's just judge the two based on numbers. You start Destiny and you get your little, you watch your first opening cinematic, and then you're given the choice of pick one of three characters: Titan, Hunter, Warlock. You unlock a subclass sometime down the road, and if you get one character that is high enough level, when you start another character, you automatically choose a secondary subclass. For example, when I started my Titan, like I have a high-ranking Titan that is now Sunbreaker. My Hunter class, I started out just playing right to Blade Dancer. So in total, each with the expansion of the Taken King, there are 3 characters with 3 subclasses, so 9 possible play combinations in total, right? How many does Warframe have? Now, Warframe's a little different. You start out and you get to pick one of 3. I believe it's, well, actually I can probably tell from here. It is, you get to pick, Excalibur is one, and Excalibur is the most like well-known. It's the showcase image of Warframe. When a lot of people think of Warframe, they think of this helmet structure as that. However, I think the other choices for play are Mag, which is energy manipulation powers, and I think the third one is Volt. Yes, electricity. So those are the first 3 that you get to choose from. And when you pick one, you're committed. You only start, when you start Warframe, you only have 1 character. But by about maybe the first hour and a half, you get access to the arsenal. From the arsenal, you can pick other Warframes. Now, when I say pick, there is a bit of back and forth about that. You can look at all the different combinations that there are. There are tons. I believe with the most recent update, up to A War Within, I think there's around 30 of them, not counting prime figures, which I might get into in a little bit. But you have 30 possible combinations, all uniquely designed. For example, Ash looks different than Ember, and Ember looks different than Hydro, and Hydro looks different than Frost. All of these are different. All of these play at least semi-differently, all have different stats, and all have a very different look to them. And that's one thing I really give Warframe credit for, is that their characters look very different. And unlike Destiny, where you're overturning armor sets constantly, and you can look many different ways, but you're always going to be prioritizing power over looks. Like, you could have gear that looks utterly terrible but has great stats. Warframe doesn't do that because it doesn't have gear. It's just the suit is the gear. It's like, this is what it looks like. And from there you can make small alterations. Like, Excalibur starts as that grayish base with a lightish blue color, but I've done red and black with a white accent. Nyx starts not looking white and green, but I like white and green for Nyx, and I like white and gold for Oberyn. So there's a lot of choice that you have there. Now, the difference is, to get these Warframe sets, you can't just unlock them through progression. Or can you? I haven't bought any Warframes. I started with Excalibur and trained it all the way up. I found all the components of Nyx and put it together. And then I found all the components of Oberyn and put it together. You can, on the other hand, purchase the kits directly. Now, purchasing cuts out production time. So what is production time? I'll get to that in a second. But my key point here is, numbers-wise, the amount of classes that you get to pick from in Warframe is tremendous. So if you find something that works with your style the best, you go for it. So you want to play the heaviest armored thing there is in all of Warframe, you go with the Rhino. And I think I don't think it shows on here, but if I go to the marketplace, we can take a look at, if we go to Warframes, pick, say, Chroma. So Chroma's got these abilities: Spectral Scream, Element Ward, Vex Armor, and Effigy. So every single one of these 4 combination abilities is unique to that character. So a character like Ember has a lot of fire-based abilities. So starting out with throwing fireballs, second ability is a stun, there's a shockwave ability, and then World on Fire, which just, I imagine, just does a burst of fire everywhere. The key is that every single one of these is unique. Destiny-wise, there is a lot of parallels. Everybody has a jump ability of sorts, whether it's a hover or a teleportation thing or something like that. Everybody has a grenade ability, and everybody has a hit ability of some type, whether it's the knife with the hunter, the pulse with the warlock, or just the raw punch of the titan. They're all sort of the same. The differences come from the small specialization points and the ultimates. My point in all of this is there's a lot of variety in classes in Warframe. Now, Destiny has a lot more variety in guns. Ish. They have a lot more guns, but a lot of guns are reskins and just small alterations on fire rates, magazine size, and stuff like that. The only real good ones are when you get up to exotic class. The difference is that in Warframe, every weapon is sort of an exotic. So, for example, the weapons that I have are one of the, I think, maybe 5 machine guns, one of the 4 or 5 bows, and one of the, 3 sniper rifles. So there's not as many weapons, like, that's a burst fire gun, that's a LMG, that's another bow, that's another bow.
Marked on navigation.
Thank you, Lowe's. And there's a slight variation in stuff like this, where it's like, this is a type of shotgun, or this is a type of machine gun. But they're all specialized to, this is this model. Like, this is the Grakton, or this is the Bolter. They're both kind of assault rifle-ish, but they're both a little different, and they're very specially designed. So in Destiny, you're going to be getting weapons constantly. Like, you'll clear through a set of enemies and pick up like a couple new guns. They may be better, they may be worse. They may look cooler, they may look not. Whereas with Warframe, you're going to be concentrating on, okay, I just want to get a weapon that I feel comfortable with and suits my playstyle the best. If you want to go in stealth, you're going to grab a bow. If you want to go in a little loud and dangerous, you're going to go with an assault rifle. If you want to go long distance, you're going to pick up a high-powered sniper rifle. So there's very set things to each of those. The difference, again, being how progression of that weapon works. With Destiny, it's you go through the progression of leveling up a weapon and you get certain additions to it. Oftentimes with exotics, have the best additions, such as patience and time, being able to cloak yourself when you're scoped in, or I can't remember the name of the shotgun, but it's the fire exotic shotgun that slowly regenerates ammo over time once it's maxed out. The difference is that when you're thinking of with weapons in Warframe is that no gun has any special ability to it. They all have slight differences to them. For example, the Grakton has really high fire rate, but you'll run out of bullets really quick. But it just essentially pull the trigger, empty the entire clip, and kill as many as you can. Whereas something like the Karak is better served for controlled bursts. The difference is that instead of getting just certain upgrades as you go, you choose what upgrades you want to put into your guns. So every gun and every Warframe have slots for mods. Mods you will just pick up when you're playing the game. Some are better, some are worse. That's why they have different coloring to them. The higher class ones are outlined in gold. The common ones are outlined in bronze. And the mid to range ones are outlined in silver. I think there's even one class above gold. These can be things like reloading speed, or critical damage, or magazine size, or fire rate. Combining these together, and you know what, I should go like that. Combining these together in the correct configuration can mean increased critical damage or fire rate. But it's always your choice. From your arsenal of mods, if I want to up and you know what, I'm going to go like that. If I want to up my critical damage by 80%, putting me at critical multiplier 2.7, I can do that just like that. So it's all up to your choice and your play style. If you want to play a longer game that is more based upon status effects, so pick up a increased status duration thing and then add in electricity. So you shoot somebody a couple times, but the electricity continues for a couple seconds so that you can sneak around and maybe do a melee attack. Um, Also, back to the whole weapons thing. Um, so there are multiple different kinds of. Back even further than that. Warframe and Destiny both have three types of weapons. In Destiny, it's primary, secondary, and heavy. In this game, it's primary, secondary, melee weapon. So instead of relegating melee weapons to a heavy category, they are their own category. So primaries, as I said, are things like assault rifles, bows, shotgun snipers, even some weird stuff. Like, I think, let me find it here. There's stuff like this thing is a harpoon gun. Don't know how effective it is, but it's interesting to say the least. This is a gun that shoots out buzzsaws. This is a gun that shoots out laser versions of those buzzsaws. This is a gun that shoots small rockets. This is, I think, an energy pulse gun. So, once again, a lot of variety and a lot of variation, but there's only one of things, unless there's a prime version, which is just, forgive me, an enhanced version of a weapon. Then we move on to secondaries. That ranges from things such as pistols. I have the Vasto is one of my favorites. It's a revolver. The twin Gratons, which are taking the assault rifle and adding a second one, but making them SMGs. You've got twin pistols that I don't actually know how they fire. Twin handheld shotguns, twin pistols, twin machine pistols, pistols that shoot small rockets, small disposable crossbows, and then throwing items such as ninja stars, kunai, stuff like that. So once again, a lot of variation in types. And then finally, melee weapons. These things range from stuff like katanas, great swords, twin blades, axe and shield, hand weapons, dual bladed weapons, glaive weapons, sword and dagger combination or greatsword weapons, fencing swords, dual short axe type weapons, reaper scythes, dual axes, dual daggers, singular sword, fist weapons, machete, axe type thing, another greatsword, hammer, combat feet and gauntlets, whip and I think dagger or machete combination, and various nunchucks, of course, various other combinations. So my point here is that where Warframe not only has a lot of quantity in your choice of at least class types, it also backs up the lack of number of weapons compared to something like Destiny or even Borderlands, for example, by having each weapon be really unique in at least its style and slightly in its playstyle. Finally, something that I want to finish off with the numbers game because it's a very vital, important point. Destiny has what? Earth, the moon, Venus, Mars, the Dreadnought, the Void, and then I think some other stuff for mission locations. So what? That's about 7 spots. I know multiplayer people are going to be in my case. Oh, you can play on Mercury and stuff like that. It's like, I know, but there's not a mission that's there. How many does Warframe have? Well, every planet in our conceivable galaxy. So you start on Earth, and I think Venus is next, Mercury, Mars. I'm trying to get to Phobos right now. Then you go Mars, Phobos, Ceres, Jupiter. Actually, I have access to Jupiter right now. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and with Jupiter you have Europa, Saturn, which loops off from Pluto, I believe, the Void. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 to 7. And just in case you're wondering, yeah, no, there's about the same amount of missions on every planet as one in Destiny. So, not even that. And I believe there are raids in this game. I've never tried them because I'm not high enough level yet. Enough waffling around with semantics as to trying to show you just numbers-wise why I think this game is better. Let me get to the real point why I think this game is better. And that's gameplay. I'll even break character here for a second. Warframe doesn't really have a story. Like, it does and it doesn't. Get my glades on. So, for example, I'll show you. Like, there are quest lines. You start with, I think, Vor's Prize, then it's the Howl of the Kubra, or no, Vor's Prize, the Arkwing, Howl of the Kubra, Once Awakened, Stolen Dreams, Man of Few Words. I haven't got the next ones yet. So there are quest lines, but they're not as like particular as Destiny's quest lines. I will also say, like, Destiny may be lacking its story, but it does have one. And it has one that you can research and kind of look into and stuff like that. One thing I will give Warframe over, however, is the ability to look up codex stuff about characters that exist in the universe by simply accessing the game. You don't have to go to a second screen experience just to look up the story of stuff. Alright, so what I was about to say was that I think the strongest point where Warframe beats out Destiny is in the gameplay side of things. Destiny has a defined and much better story. Warframe kind of has a story, but only partially. However, a lot of Destiny's missions rely on just horde tactics or just go here and kill something. Now, I'll get back to gameplay in a second here. The one thing I want to say is that Warframe has the least mission variety. So, for example, we're going to do... Let me find it here. We're going to do this extermination mission here, which is just kill all the targets. However, there's also defense, which is defend this point for X amount of waves. It's firefight. It's firefight, and you can leave at 5, 10, 15, 20 waves. The longer you stay, the better rewards. But then there's stuff like spy missions, where it's prioritized that you use stealth and hack consoles. This becomes very apparent once you get to Venus, because the spy missions that are on Venus, and especially later on, become very tough. because you're going in trying to do as stealthy as possible and hack consoles. Mobile defense, version of defense, where you're moving a small data collection tool and putting it in different points and defending them each. Usually 3, but still varied. Sabotage, a little like mobile defense, move to different points and take out things that are causing problems in the area. Excavation is the best mission for farming because it just throws down excavators from the sky that farm points. You defend those excavators, grab power cells from enemies that drop them, put them in the excavators to keep it charged. Every excavator grants you a free gift that could be currency, items, a whole bunch of different stuff. Excavation is the best for farming materials and for leveling your character because it continuously gets harder every time. It says 6 to 16 level wise. It will go over. I've fought even I think this one when it's gotten to level 20, 25, and even when it gets to 30. When it gets to 30, it gets hectic. What other mission types are there? Sabotage, mobile defense, excavation, interception. Rescue. It's a rescue mission. You gotta get on board that ship, find a person, move them to the extraction point. A little bit of a escort mission, but not where the person isn't competent. You can even give them your sidearm and they'll fight with you. Interception is... I think interception is... I don't know if that's a capture the points one. I can't remember, honestly. It's been such a long time because I just played excavation to farm points. And then there is... We will get to what Arcwing is in a little bit. But let's get back onto my gameplay tangent. Because Destiny's gameplay isn't bad. I would never say that. Like, the gunplay in it is great. Like, it feels like Halo gunplay with a slight variation there, and how the abilities work with working within that is fine. My trouble is that when you look at it from just a generation of stuff standpoint, it's not, it doesn't feel new or interesting. Warframe feels new and interesting. Okay, so just, this is without sprinting. This is close to, I would say, about the walk cycle of how fast a person in Destiny can run. This is sprint. Sprint is already, I think, faster than Destiny Sprint. I will have to do tests back and forth to be fully. But the thing is, if you're doing that while playing Warframe, you're playing Warframe wrong. Also, sprint is a toggle in this game, unlike where you have to hold down. You're not playing Warframe if you're playing this. You're only playing Warframe if you're doing slide into jump combos. Also, off of that slide, you can access your melee weapon. Your melee weapon, again, also, is just circle or B. So it's just shortcut always there. So let me just show you what happens when you get this thing going. When you jump into the air, you can slow down essentially your descent and time by using the left trigger. This allows for if I can pull one off. Get this Frontier Lancer out here. Mid-air snipes. It also allows you to just move through the level at your own speed, unless you fall down a hole. No character in Destiny can move this fast. Like this, and you'd think this movement's a little hard to control. Not. It's not. Like, I'm just pushing L1 and then X to do this, and then I can do double jump in the air into hold down to LT to slow down. And then I've got air attacks off of that, which at times, if I time them correctly, can actually push me further and at a higher speed. Or I get my sliding attack, which is, especially with a big weapon like the Glaton, is a full sweep of the area. There are also, because this can be actually played stealthily, there are stealth kills in this game. So, gunplay, like, for a third-person game, feels great. The camera is a nice hug to your side, and hardly ever will be obscured by anything. Gunplay through the air is awesome, and just also works. It's probably one of the only games that does this properly. Because there's games like Stranglehold and stuff like that that are just, you've seen them in the bargain bin, they're not very good. But this game just knows how to do it. Like, I think my entire point here is that Destiny feels like just a variant of Halo at times, which is nice, but it also just makes it kind of feel boring and samey. Whereas this feels new, it feels interesting, because not a lot of games feel like that. Switch to the sniper rifle here. Ammo just pretty much drops off of nearly anything, so you're hardly ever going to be running out of bullets. And if at any time, your weapon never requires bullets. There are actually weapons that do, or melee weapon does not require bullets. There are ones that do. There are some of the newer ones. If you have energy, you can power up your attacks. Just the gameplay in this game feels good. And that helps with the third part, which is the grind. I wouldn't dig into Destiny as much as I do if the gameplay made the grind feel fun. But it makes it feel tedious because you're doing the same actions over and over and over again. Now, you're still doing the same actions over and over again in Warframe, but at least while you're doing them, you can do... You're not going at a constant, like, rhythmic, boring pace through a level. You're doing stuff like jumping over huge gaps and doing somersaults and stuff like that. So it helps break up the monotony of just, okay, next level, grind some more, gotta get these materials kind of thing. Also, you might notice that I'm getting stuff just by, like, going through the level. I don't have to stray off the hidden path to pick items. every item and material in this game just drops off stuff. They've even actually made the game a little nicer where you will just find deposits of various materials. I cannot hit this thing. But like, when you're busting open chests like that, you're probably going to get currency and then something else. But you will always be making improvement. Whereas with Destiny, there are times where you might go through an entire section and have hardly anything to show for it. But like, this game just feels good to play. Now, that doesn't mean it's without its faults. Aside from like the Tenno and their Warframes and their designs there, and then some of the enemy designs, the game doesn't look like superb. Like, there's a bit of like odd lighting to it. Texture quality's okay. There's a bit of like, you can clip into walls. Like, the game's not perfect, but it is like fun. The fun factor of playing it isn't taken away by lower poly stuff or anything like that. So, I really don't know where the hell this video is going. It just gives me an excuse to play this game. Because this game is really fun. Right, we'll see in a second here. As soon as I get over here. Bust open that chest.
Another job well executed.
So, just for playing that, all my stuff levels up and I'm getting just random... I got currency, materials, and then a couple mods that I won't use because they're underpowered. But the thing is, you can grind in this game, and while you're grinding, other things happen. When you're playing Destiny, and you're just trying to farm for materials, you're not always concentrating on farming in such a way that also levels up your weapons. This game just lets you do that. Now, you're limited to the weapons that you brought into that mission. So, you've got a slightly limited arsenal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference between what happens when you're playing solo and what happens when you're playing co-op. Because if I go public, the game actually auto-matches you with people. There we go.
Great work. I am pleased with your performance.
So just for minutely participating in this mission, I got multiple times the credits and just more items. And that's on the lower end. The game promotes just collaboration even with just randos. And if you have a good team together, especially on long excavation missions, you can make a lot of stuff. My bottom line here is that Destiny isn't a bad game, it's just that Warframe is more fun to play, and it's free. Like, I have spent, I think, $5 total on this game. I have spent on Destiny I think $120. With $120, I could probably unlock multiple Warframes, multiple weapons, and customize this thing to the nth degree. Oh, I also forgot to mention, these weapons don't come in this color normally. When you select a weapon, say this, if I go into appearance, I can just mess with the color. Can't do that in Destiny. If you've got something that clashes entirely with your kit, but you want to use it because of power or a certain gameplay aspect of it, you have to. You just have to live with the color. Oh, let's also think. This game has trading. Like auto grouping for nearly everything. I bet even some auto grouping for raids. I believe even Gear. This is stuff made by a community person. These are just skins that have been created by a community person. Just like this game has amazing points to it. It has some faults, sure, but I don't understand how Destiny can just get away with all of its stuff and still pull fans in, and how this game, on a gameplay perspective and on a gameplay and customization perspective, is 100 times better and didn't cost a dime to get.
Just wonders, what are you thinking about?
Just this game is awesome, and you deserve it to yourself to at least give it a try, just to see if you like the gameplay style and how it works. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say, but I said it in a very long-winded manner. Anyways, I'll figure out what this video is going to look like. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.